Hello everyone, this is Professor Wei here. In this video, I want to give you guys an overview of your second homework assignment. So first let me share my screen. All right, so your assignment is going to be due on March 16th. You have plenty of time to work on it with your teammates. So first, I want to clearly state the learning objective of this homework. So first, after this homework assignment, you should be able to, use Pandas Data Reader, which is a common remote access data reader toolset that allows you to extract data from some common open platforms, such as the Federal Reserve Data Center, which is something we are going to work on in this exercise. Okay. Then the other purpose of this exercise is to help you to, familiarize yourself with some basic features of Python. Okay. Specifically, you will be working on some data descriptions and data visualizations. For example, you're going to generate a time series plot of the housing price. Okay, something like that, and then you will be able to work on some something related to the data frame, which is a common data structure in this broad diesel point. Okay, so specifically, this exercise is related to the housing market. So we are going to extract housing price data from the something called FRED, the Federal Reserve Economic Data Center. Okay, so I had to have the official website posted here. It's something like this. Okay, so what we are going to do is to investigate the real estate market housing price trend over the time span of 1990 to the end of last year. Okay, so we want to extract the data of the LA housing price index, which is proxied by uh, S&P Case-Shiller LA Home Price Index. Okay, this is so Case-Shiller Housing Price Index is a very common indicator that captures the level of the housing market, price level of the housing market over a specific geographic region. Okay, so if you are going to search major cities or major, each state on the Federal Reserve, you can extract their housing price data. I mean the Case-Shiller index. Okay, so the variable name for the Case-Shiller index of LA home price is LXX which is defined by the Federal Reserve data center. Okay. In the meantime, you are going to extract the data of the national housing price level. Okay. The variable name is given over here, CSUSHPISA. Okay. That's the variable name for the Case-Shiller national housing price level. Okay. So when when you use the pandas data reader to extract those data, it will be in a form of a pandas series. Okay, which is something similar with the Yahoo Finance extraction example we went over in class. Okay, so after you get the data, what you want to do in the first place is to get yourself a sense of how the data looks like. Okay, so one way in Python to preview the data is just to display the first five or whatever number of observations of the data you have. Okay, so you want to show me the value of the first five observations of the data you have. Okay, then you want to generate a time series plot of the LA housing price over the time span given. Okay, by time series plot, basically I want you to plot the level of the price over time. Okay, similarly, you want to do that for the national housing price level. Okay, so the next step is a little bit challenging. Well, not challenging, but just you need to spend a little bit more effort. So what I want you to do is to merge the data of the two series you have. I mean, the LA housing price and the national housing price. Okay, so remember in your first homework assignments, I mean, for the regression question, not sure if you remember, I asked you guys to, go to Yahoo Finance to download for individual stocks data and then consolidate the, four spreadsheets into, consolidate the data into one spreadsheet, right? You need to copy the data, from one spreadsheet to another, something like that. Okay, so this is called merging. Okay, so basically you want to merge the data together into one table. Okay, so in this context, I want you to, create a new table that has the time indicator, the LA housing price, and the national housing price. Okay, so on Canvas, I do post a additional learning resource, and also I have a link posted over here on the Jupyter Notebook. So you can find there is a very detailed instruction in terms of, along with the examples in terms of how you merge the data. So it's very easy to do. Once you read the page, you should be able to sort things out with probably just 1 or 2 lines of code. Okay. So once you have a consolidated data table, you want to tell me what is the dimension of the data frame. Basically, what's the number of rows, how many number of columns you have, okay? And what's going to be the correlation coefficient between the LA housing price and the national housing price level, of course, over the time span given. Okay. So then you want to regenerate the time series plot of the LA housing price and the national price in one graph. Okay. So basically, I want you to present 2 time series within one graph. Because in that case, under the same scale, you can compare the LA to the national housing price level in a more direct and user-friendly manner. Okay, so remember in this exercise, you want to put 2 lines in the same graph. Okay, that's the objective. Basically, you are going to generate a plot using the new data frame you have. Then you want to, give me a sort of a histogram to capture the distribution of the data for both the national and LA housing price. The very last step for the for this exercise is to, let the Python to tell you what's going to be the mean, standard deviation, mean value, and the maximum value of the LA housing price. So basically, you want to tell me what's going to be the, the central tendency, dispersion, and extreme value for the LA housing price over the time span using some sort of a Python function, which is very easy, probably just one word. Okay, so it's kind of a similar with the Yahoo Finance stock price example in class. All right, another comment is when you write your code, make necessary comments on the code to tell yourself or your teammate and me, okay, what's gonna be the purpose of this specific block of code or whatever you feel to be necessary, okay? And in the long term, I think it's gonna be a very healthy practice. I mean, to comment your code so that you know what you are doing. Well, so in the second homework, actually, I have a bonus question part. So if you correctly sort out this part, you will get 15 points, which is quite substantial actually. So obviously, it does requires additional effort for obvious reasons. Okay, so So what I want you to do is to extend your knowledge in regression analysis. Okay, of course, in Python environment. Similar with exercise you did on the first homework assignment. So what I want you to do is to explore the association between the LA housing price and the national housing price in the first place. Okay, so basically you want to regress the LA housing price onto the national housing price level. Okay, that's a very standard ordinary least square OLS regression model. Okay, so in Python, I posted a link. Please go over the web page. But don't worry, actually we will go over this in the second half of the semester. But I want you to sort of develop your independent learning skill. Uh, so please go over the link I given over here so that you know what's gonna be the right way to run the regression in the Python environment. Actually, it's very easy. It's because it's a sort of a user written package, and you just need to borrow and then just run the data. So you want to tell me how to interpret the coefficient over here and how to, whether it's statistically significant. Okay. Now, the main body of this bonus exercise is over here. Okay. So suppose you're wondering whether the LA housing price is affected by the unemployment rate. Okay. Well, obviously, it should be. Okay. But you want to establish the association between the housing price and the unemployment rate. Okay. And you want to use regression approach to capture that. So in this part, you have to go to, you have to grab the data, the unemployment rate using the pandas data reader and merge that with the Elding housing price so that you can run a regression. Again, you want to explain to me, the explanatory power of the unemployment rate and how to interpret that in the economic sense. Okay. Also, economic and finance theory tell us that interest rate, the opportunity cost, is also a deterministic factor of the housing price. Okay, so I want you to re-implement your OLS regression and get the coefficient by including the what is that? The interest rate level. So you can use the variable name given over here, the INTD, whatever, to extract the interest rate data. Okay. The very last part is kind of interesting. It's more like descriptive based question. So what I want you to do is to think about this. So suppose you want to get the OLS estimates of the national GDP onto the housing price index. In other words, you think, the general economics level is, has some sort of a predictive power of the housing price, which is quite legitimate, right? And you realize the fact that you can only get quarterly frequency GDP data. Well, because that's the survey results from the Federal Reserve, right? So you only have the GDP data at quarterly frequency, whereas the housing price data you get is on the monthly level. Okay, so on one hand you have monthly frequency, on the other hand you have the quarterly frequency. So think about this. In your homework one, you have four, streams of individual stock data on the daily basis, right? You have the daily frequency stock price data, so that you can easily copy paste and put them together. What if you have sort of a frequency misalignment in the data that you are going to process? Okay, now let me give you another example. So for example, if you want to explore the explanatory power of accounting variables on the stock return, in other words, you want to see whether those accounting characteristics can predict the future stock returns, such as the leverage, cash flow, asset, firm size, whatever other accounting variables, which are usually reported in the quarterly or annual reports. Whereas for the stock return data, it's available at the daily frequency level, right? So when you are going to merge that, how can you do it? Okay, so in this question, you want to discuss with your teammate and present me a paragraph. Just tell me how to address this issue to ensure a proper and reasonable data merging. Okay, so believe me, this is extremely important and extremely practical in the real world, especially, I mean, when you are working on, I mean, if you are in the area of something related to the data science, you have to deal with this kind of a problem on a daily basis. Okay, so that's pretty much I have for the second homework. And when you want to turn in your when you are ready to submit your file, make sure you follow the naming convention I listed over here, and then upload your Jupyter notebook onto Canvas. Okay, so I will see you guys in class. All right, let me know if you have any questions.